And according to that, we are live to the sound of crickets coming off somebody's mic. Right, yeah. Welcome to session 10 of the Priestess and the Silver Cave using Conan's the 2D20 Conan system. We're a bit late starting tonight because we've just been figuring out the final bits and pieces with character advancement. So, when we left you guys last session, if I can remember that far back, because we had a break for Christmas, if I remember rightly, you had managed to find Karmat or Inanna in a village just outside Shamir. You had met with the village elder, whose name escapes me at the moment, and had managed to bargain for the information as to the whereabouts of the Silver Cave. So Inanna passed that along, and it is slightly to the west of a small town called Calbris in southern Koth. And you know that the armies of Akbitana are heading over the mountain pass to Koth because Canufis is searching for the Silver Cave. Or for the Amulet of Tardessa, which he believes to be somewhere in southern Koth. Southern Koth is quite a large area. So, you return to Shamir, and we see you guys loading up your camels and heading out of the red mud-walled city of Shamir, and heading back into the desert northwards towards Akbitana once again. Each night you spend training, thinking about what you've been doing, what you're going to be working into. So insert a little montage sequence where you practice all of your new skills, and eventually, around 3 weeks later, as you are climbing back towards the mountains of northern Shem, you can see the city of Akbitana with its black haze above the temple of Anu coming into view. You stop briefly at Akbitana, enough to resupply yourselves, and I am guessing to sell your camels and buy horses.
What a large diminished fleet.
Yeah, well, you've already got a diminished fleet of camels, but
we're about 10 now, I think.
Yeah, if you're heading north over the mountains, up through the snowy pass, camels probably aren't the best form of transport up there.
Probably a donkey.
So we'll have to sell our 10 camels, pack camels we had left.
Yeah. Yeah, sell your pack camels.
And riding camels.
And your riding camels.
What's the exchange rate?
I don't know. Neither do I care. Dalib will stay with some of the camels in Akbitana while you guys head off into southern Koth.
Has he got family, or are we paying him to stay there?
He's from Karaja. He came with you from Karaja to act as a guide in Shamir. Initially, just to act as a guide as far as Akbitana, but he went with you to Shamir.
But for selling the camels off, could we give him a camel as part of payment and let him go home rather than keep paying him to sit there?
He has said he will wait for a month or 6 weeks, say 2 months in Akbitana, and if you have not returned by then, he will buy some small provision and try and join a camel train that will take him to back towards Karaja. He's not very keen on travelling on his own for several weeks through desert.
No.
So horses and a couple of donkeys. You set off into the mountains. You climb past the terraced fields that lead up over the foothills that supply Akbitana. You pass through the areas where the mines are that they use for iron ore and for coal to make their steel, and work your way up into the high mountains. The pass goes up so high that you end up actually in snow, which comes as somewhat of a shock to Aladai. But Baldur feels quite comfortable up there. And minor skirmishes with driving off wolves and trying to keep quiet and lay low when Akbitana and patrols are there. All that aside, you descend back down into southern Koth and make your way to the town of Calbris. So you guys make your way down and follow the river that runs you out to Caltris. So as we start, you are outside of town, on a hill overlooking a valley that then rises towards Caltris. You know that the entrance to the Silver Cave is to the west of the town. You can see what you can see. It's a small town. It has a road that runs in from this direction, two roads that run out. The river is running from the mountains to the south, and heading out further north into the forests of southern Koth. You've been probably 2 weeks out of Akbitana, and you can see. Actually, I'll tell you what. We will do a first roll of the game. We'll get a group observation roll, and then I will tell you roughly what you see, and you can then spend any momentum that you get from that on extra information.
Well, unless anyone's observation's gone above Charlie's 312.
Well, I got one. I can re-roll one of them, can't I?
Right, we should only be doing one, and Charlie should be doing 2.
I can do 2 and re-roll 1, so I have 2 for observation.
So we'll take Kaya's first roll, which was an 11. Is that a pass on observation?
I changed my observation, sorry. Did I change my observation? Come to observation.
You've gone very quiet there, Bill.
Oh, sorry, I have a microphone above my head.
I thought it was the cat playing with your power supply again.
Don't give her any ideas. Observation. Nope, that's a fail.
Okay. Wasn't on pause then.
Fail from Kaja. I'm guessing, Dougie, that Genghis made it.
He did.
Yeah, you rolled 1 dice.
Yeah, it's a group roll.
Ollie, roll 1 dice.
Success, yep.
Okay. Okay.
And Baldur.
Oh, yeah, somebody roll for Baldur. That's 12.
As well.
Okay. Right. So.
Sorry, it's a compulsion.
Right. Okay. So you can see the
5.
the town the hill leads up, the road leads up the hill, and the town is sitting there. It's mid-morning, coming up to noon.
Whose phone was that?
What on earth?
That would be
Charlie's.
Charlie.
Charlie.
He'll be gone for an hour and a half. Right. Yeah, you can see the town on the top of the hill. There is obviously a fort inside walls on the outskirts of the town. You can see soldiers walking about in it. I will tell you now that they look like Akbitanan troops rather than Kothic troops. And the town appears generally a little quieter than you'd expect. So the way this works is you have you've gained some extra momentum from that observation roll. So you can ask me 3 other questions about the town that you would be able to judge from this kind of distance. You're kind of, I don't know what, maybe a mile away. In a copse of woods on a hill.
Okay, I've got a question if everyone's up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Is the town passable without being spotted?
I mean, obviously not on the road,
No.
because it runs right through the middle. If you were to get yourself onto the other side of the river, you could probably manage to sneak your way around. There is a bridge on the southwest side of the town, which crosses the river. And there's a couple of smaller buildings slightly closer to the river than there would be otherwise. Yeah, just where you pinged. So you could try and skirt long ways around the town. And yeah, you could probably find, so if you took a day, you could get around the town and come in from the northwest, or like I say, you could get in along the river. You are fairly confident that they will be sending out patrols every now and then. You've managed to avoid patrols so far, and you could possibly pass as camp followers for the army, or people trying to sell things to the army from Shem. Although, given that you're not Shemish, that would make it a little bit more difficult.
And we've got new goods now anyway.
Good point. At night, it would be possible, if risky, to head along this side of the river.
All I'm thinking, guys, before we ask the other questions, is the only reason we're here is because it's the closest point to the cave. Do we need to go through the town?
Bill, Ollie, anybody?
Well, would it be possible perhaps to get some information about what other people are doing to do with the cave from there, maybe?
My concern is if we start asking questions about the area, will that alert someone to where we want to go? Why do we want to go there? I want to keep this as quiet as possible.
And none of us still probably have the personality to pull it off in a...
I don't know. I'm a personality monster now.
I mean, me too, but...
I'm not.
I'm not either.
I am.
Bill's disappearing further and further down the camera.
I noticed that.
My laptop keeps on slipping.
There's a cat behind pushing.
Right, so there's my first question anyway. I'll
Yeah.
leave the other 2 for you guys. I think that's fair.
I have to say my assumption had already been that we wouldn't go through the town at all because I'm not sure what we need to go through for.
Yeah, you've got tact, you've got diplomacy. You can't have assumption and all.
You can't make me laugh when I'm balancing tea. That's just not a good plan.
Oh, I don't know. We're enjoying it.
Yeah.
I
Is
know
that
where
another
you
skill?
live. I now own nunchucks.
I have long said that I have no fear of anybody with nunchucks, on the grounds that they are far more likely to be damaging to themselves than they are to me.
I've seen nunchucks being used by someone who has no idea what they're doing, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm an expert.
I will let you demonstrate that the next time we see that. But Kaja is not an expert with nunchucks, to my knowledge.
Nope,
Well, I'm
nope.
pretty sure she could learn to use them.
I suppose you could use it as a flail.
So, what are you thinking you may want to?
Well, we got 2 more questions.
I want to
Two
do?
questions.
Yeah.
It feels like anyone remember the series Nightmare? VR kids going through the maze and being mentored,
Yeah.
and there was a guardian wall that used to speak to them, and they could ask them 3 questions about what was going on, and
Yeah.
it was a bit like that.
Anyway,
I had a question and I've since forgotten it.
I missed that bit of the sentence about why we're asking questions. Good.
Because we got such a fantastic observation roll, Charlie.
Right.
And
Okay.
we were allowed 3 questions. So my question was, is there a way round the village without being seen? Because at the moment, it's only on our map because we know the Silver Cave is to the west of this village. So if we don't need to go through there, let's not.
I think I have a question.
well, ask the group, and then you can always ask me if the group think it's a good idea.
That makes sense. I was thinking we could ask, does the military presence in the town look about the right size for a town, or a bit more? Or potentially a bit less?
Or can we see military presence? Enough of the military presence.
Yeah, well, I mean, he said we could see the guards at least, but yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's that. I was thinking along them lines, but when he
Some
said
big
we're a
walls
mile out, we're not going to
Yeah,
see
maybe not
much
from here.
detail.
Well, ask anyway. If you want to ask something, ask. I can say to you, no, you can't. But I can equally say to you, yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well,
my question was going to be then is, can we see much activity around the edges of the town? People coming and going or doing stuff around the edges. That was going to be the group question. So group rather than military. Can we certainly see much activity around the town? Like they're relaxed or something.
Just to add to that, Charlie, Louise said when you're on the phone that the town does seem quieter than we'd expect.
Right, okay.
With the wrong type of soldiers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've taken it over.
Which is why I was thinking about
I think we
numbers.
should get a wide berth then.
I just say you send Cager in on a horse with a axe and sword swinging. Tends to work.
Cage would be happy with that.
May come out looking more like a porcupine than anything else.
I'm definitely doing pincushion impressions.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Ollie. Ask your question about the military presence. I think that's a good one, mate.
We asked the question.
okay. So, remind me of the question, because I've been half concentrating on something else in the background.
That's fine. So the reason I said we asked the question is because I half forgotten the question, but I'll try and remember it. It was something along the lines of, can we see if there is a larger or smaller military presence in the town than we would expect of a town of its size?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not far from Calchis, which is a larger city.
Not to be confused with Calbris.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, always rethink your names before you actually take them to the table.
Anis.
However,
I got Bell again.
Yeah, I'm kind of guessing. You know, you guys have got a good score on this. You can take some time up in the trees looking out. It doesn't look like there is a huge military presence in Calbres. It looks as though it's a there are people there, but there's not a huge military presence there. You are seeing small patrols of kind of 20, 25 guys going out and patrolling. In terms of military presence, you wouldn't want to march up to the town and try and take it. The 5 of you would, you're fairly confident, be slaughtered. However, it's not a huge force to garrison this particular town.
Okay.
They haven't got a lot of extra manpower, you wouldn't have thought.
Would you say it's more like a bolster force than a fully defensive force?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, they're trying to make sure that the residents don't do anything stupid, but basically they're camped out here, just sort of the town. If the town has said, yeah, okay, we're not going to fight you, then they would just leave a force in the fort to keep an eye on things. It's that kind of size force. Yeah, it's there just to kind of keep the peace and make sure that nothing kicks off.
I've got a thought for a question that is being asked to the group before it gets fired at you, Louis.
Okay.
How much damage has the town sustained? Does it look
damage
like...
does it look?
Yeah. Does it look like they put up a fight? Does it look like...
That'd be your last question.
So would we know if Calchis and Calbris are under the same government or whether they are separate?
I'll tell you that outside because that's not an observation question. Yeah, it would be under the same government. It would the area of Koth is largely surrounded by mountains. It's a big country, not as big as Shem, but a deal larger than Karaja, and it stretches all the way to Karaja.
The reason I asked then is, in which case then there wouldn't be damage. They're there to reinforce it. It's not like they've taken it over. So I don't think that would be a good question.
Sorry.
If they were opposing forces, then yeah, absolutely, Bell. But if they're both the same political alignment, I don't think it's.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Should we be asking questions about outposts and things further out from the town, like early warning scout parties and things like that? Because if we're going to circumvent the town, not go through it, we want to miss all of that.
Is it worth asking if we see any vessels moving up or down the river?
Of course, there's a river there, isn't there?
Are we near the river?
Yeah, we are. And
Later.
if we would, but if we want to cross it, then we could take the river south of our position and then go round the village or down round the city that way. I think that'd make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, Louis, third question. Do we see any vessels making use of the river?
Okay, you don't see anything going up and down the river, but what you do see is a small collection of boats shored near the building closest to the bridge. She's a little further north than that, but not by much. So about there on your map. I think I've just pinged it.
Nope.
No, let's try that again. Did that ping it?
Click and hold.
There we go.
Oh, this is the bridge, yeah.
Okay, so the bridge is there.
And we're just a bit... Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just here.
I've marked in blue where the boats are.
That's where there are not a large number of boats, but there's a half a dozen, maybe a dozen small boats that look like they've been clustered together near that building.
And which way is the river running?
The river runs from the southeast up towards the northwest.
Okay.
The boats look like they could be fishing boats, or...
Yeah, possibly. They're not. I mean, they're not trawlers, but yeah, they're you'd expect somewhere here. They're probably guys that are going out and finding somewhere where they know the fish are.
I'm
Sorry,
thinking
just-
maybe a
Could you,
nighttime patrol towards
So-
the boats and use them to go up the river.
Bell,
Mhm.
you need to bring your mic down because we can barely hear you again.
sorry, could you please ping again where we are?
You are off the side of the map,
Okay.
slightly to the right of it. You're
So-
you're approaching a mile away from the town on a hilltop in a
Out here?
clump of trees.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah. So to the west of the town, the land rises a little more steeply, and the river runs into a gorge that winds through the hills. Is the other thing that so about where are we? About here on the map. That's where it starts to climb. The hill climbs up, but the river runs sort of through a gorge through the hillside.
I don't think we should cross the river and get boats because we'll lose our horses then.
Oh, yeah, we force.
As much as I like sailing,
I mean, couldn't we just? Because I mean, realistically, we know it's in this area somewhere. So couldn't we just?
You know, it's to the west of the town.
Yeah, couldn't we just tack the horses somewhere back where we are now and head off on foot? At least we know we can come back to them.
are we that top secret about this, or are we just going to go a wide berth around the town?
Yeah, but it's about crossing the river, though, isn't it?
You could head
What about
north
to the north?
from where you are.
Just go
And
north,
then-
across the top, and
and-
back down again.
Yeah.
On the horses.
It would take you, I don't know what. That would probably take you a best part of a day to do that if you wanted to go far enough out of your way to make sure you weren't being seen. But yeah, you could get onto that road to the west of the town.
Yeah, we'd probably want to come in about here, wouldn't we?
Hmm.
I think that's the plan, guys.
Yep, drive north, go around the town, and come back again.
Why not?
If something happens, at least we're still on horseback and we've got a chance of outrunning something.
Okay. So given the pretty good observation rolls you guys got earlier, you guys have seen you can take a little bit of time to work out where the patrols go, roughly what kind of time of day they go. And yeah, you guys can make it round. So you kill another day and I will put you anywhere on the top of that hill to the west of the town that you want to be.
That one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if you can be straight there. So this is, yeah, if you get up onto the top of the hill, what you can see is there is a second channel, smaller and faster than the main part of the river, which deviates off and works its way back in. But yeah, you guys want to come in sort of about here, that's fine.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So, can we have a repeat of the information that she told us about the cave? It's underneath some altar or something, isn't it?
It's she said that the entrance to the cave is within a shrine to Koth V, who was the unifier of the tribes in Koth when they kicked out the Stygians and the Hyperboreans. So yes, somewhere to the west of the town, there is a shrine to Koth V, and she is fairly confident, or what she has read has led her to believe that the entrance to the Silver Cave is beneath that shrine.
Okay, so it's quite a. I mean, it sounds like it's quite an important monument.
Mm-hmm.
But we only got a rough guess as to where it is.
Would we? Would it be
Make me-
signposted anywhere?
Make me a lore roll,
Ooh.
somebody.
A lore roll?
A lore roll.
Oh, yeah.
Fact,
7.
If you want to, I will even let you do a group lore roll if that's what people would like to do.
Okay, Simon's got a
Sounds good.
1-9.
Same.
I've got a 0-8.
Have you got any skills in it, Ollie?
Don't think so. No.
No, I don't think Simon has either. So if you want to roll 2 and everyone else can roll 1.
Right.
I will point out anybody that is untrained is going to get a complication on a 19 or a 20. So you don't have to roll. Anybody that wants to can.
Yeah, so this is for Simon, which is a fail. Oh!
Are you trained?
Law. No, I'm not.
So it's only a single success.
But it's still a good success.
It's still a good success.
I got 1 as well.
I should have made that Simon's because he does have a skill in it.
Aladai got a 1. Have you got a focus in it?
I've got a focus in it.
Okay, so you've got 2 successes. So we got 3 successes, and I'm guessing that's a complication.
And I'm going to roll mine now. And I've got a success.
Okay, so we got 4 successes and a complication.
Yes.
The signpost is broken.
No. Okay, so Kostas V was an extremely famous historical figure. So he was responsible for let me call something up and I'll read you, because I haven't prepared this for you because I wasn't planning on
us bypassing the town.
on needing this. So
Sorry, kind of.
Make a plan. Party ruins the plan. Make a new plan. Cuff it.
So Stygia,
Little lady.
way in the south of Shem, eventually ended up under the mighty sorcerer Thugra Kotan, conquering all the way north up to, and I think slightly beyond, northern Koth. However, the barbarian Hyborians came down from the north, and I mean this is all in the dim and distant past, and warred with the Stygians, and threw that down. The Kothian tribes were unified under Kostas V. He built the fabled city of Korshemish, which is Koth's capital. Yada 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 yada, and he then ended up as a god to the Kothians. Eventually, 200-300 years, 400 years down the line, they ended up worshipping Ishtar instead, and they, having worshipped Ishtar, eventually the worship of Mitra filtered in from the west, from Aquilonia, and took over. So Kostas V would have been 2,000 years ago a really big deal, and is still a respected and important figure within Gothic law and society and history. However, his worship as a deity faded 1,500 years ago, something like that. So the shrine is it will still be there, and it once would have been an important shrine, but it probably wouldn't have. It wouldn't be somewhere where people still worshipped. It's not like a temple to Mitra or to Ishtar would be.
He sounds a lot like Genghis Khan.
The namesake.
Well, I was just thinking unified tribes and
Yeah.
society and standing, created law and
There's certainly one or two similarities. Nope.
yeah.
Kicked out the Egyptians. Oh no, that's not.
He got his ass kicked by the Chinese though.
Anyway, similarities with Genghis and real world historical discussions aside, so yeah, this would have been an important site.
But he hasn't been particularly vilified by anybody, so chances of his shrine being desecrated are fairly
slim.
low,
Yeah.
which
It's more a case of the state of repair of the shrine more than anything, I think.
Do we have any idea how big this shrine is?
It's got a cave underneath it. It's got to be pretty big.
No. It's just got to have a cave underneath it.
Do we have any ideas of any particular symbolism or anything regarding Koth?
Good question, Bill.
Occasionally happens.
There's a link. There's a potential link to snakes.
Okay.
That you're pretty confident about. Other than that, no. Big guy with a beard.
The materials he was associated with.
Remind me where. No, from coming from as far away as Kaja does.
Yeah, I'm fully.
No, I don't. There's nobody that's necessarily local enough to here to know that kind of information. I don't think.
That's fair.
Other than possibly linked with snakes and reptiles, maybe. Not quite sure.
So that's a reason to possibly be going into town.
But do we want to have a quick search around so we can find it first?
Yeah, I think we should spend. I mean, we've got supplies. I mean, I reckon we could afford
I wander up and down this little gorge
3 or 4
first.
days. Yeah.
Or the other thing we can possibly do is we know that the oh god, not leggies, army.
Leggies.
Flip your mic down, Bell. Other than leggies,
I couldn't think of the word army. So I said not leggies. I knew it wasn't leggies. I said not leggies. It's been a long day. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
it's not like this is going out live on the internet or anything.
Nah. That's it. Not like this won't be a quote now on YouTube.
New name for the army: leggies.
Not leggies. Let's get it straight. Not
Where
leggies.
did Hitler keep his armies? Up his
Under
leg.
his leggies. What's
Oh,
the other
dear.
one? Where's the Buccaneers?
Okay, we've broken, Bill.
I had a coherent thought before that. A singular one, yes. So we know that the other army, well, we're an army of our own right, clearly. We know that the army are looking for the shrine as well, from memory, the cave rather. So therefore,
They're definitely looking for the cave, yeah.
so therefore, see if there's anything in particular, an area in particular that they're looking.
Or looked, it should be trampled a lot, maybe.
What I will point out is that as far as you're aware, Knufis does not know where in southern Koth the Silver Cave is.
He's got no idea.
Okay.
But yeah, they are definitely looking for the Silver Cave. That's the whole reason. Oh, it's the reason that I can't remember the name of the spy that you met 10 sessions ago. But he discovered that is the reason why Knufis is trying to get Akbitana to invade southern Koth, is so that he can look for the Silver Cave. But there's quite a lot of southern Koth, so there's a fair amount of places he could be looking.
Yeah, and that was another reason not to be seen, is that we don't want to
draw some attention.
Yeah, or pinpoint. I mean, because if they've got an idea it's to the west of here, then they can just bring up hordes of people just swarm in the countryside. Okay. That's not good for us.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So, describe to me whereabouts you want to look, and
should we work our way down the sides of the ravine to have a look at that little river?
So do we want to try and cross here first, and then sort of?
Do we need to cross, or are we going to do that? This side of the river we're on first.
I mean, how far is this piece of land between the fast-flowing river and the main river?
It's not that large.
Sorry, just thinking logically again. Though actually, I'm possibly going out of the realm of Cage's style of thinking here. What do we know about how the cave has been formed? Do we know if it's natural, man-made?
No idea. You've just heard of the Silver Cave.
And it can't be visible from the road or anywhere locally when somebody walks up along the river or whatever, so you're going to have to look for it.
I'm thinking more likely it's going to be close-ish to the river. Silver implies reflection or shiny, so you could be going...
Yeah, but down the bank, not on top or something like that. Yeah.
No, quite. I'm also thinking, where would the rock be softest?
I am going to point out the Cager of all people, not known for her
Probably
geology.
Wouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I'm probably going outside of Cage's thought process here. So I will stop there before I start thinking too much.
I mean, is it possible that they've almost diverted the river to create a protective barrier to the shrine? So could it be on that bit of land?
It could be, but it also alternatively it might not be. So we're just going to look.
I mean, is it big enough for us to see the entire island without crossing to it, Louis? I mean, we're on an elevated position anyway.
Yeah, you probably could. From the top of the gorge, you could probably see most of the area there. It is kind of mostly scrubland.
I'm assuming that boats would stay on the big river, and they haven't seen it in all this time, so it won't be on the big river. So wherever it is, it's not on the main river, unless it's very well hidden.
Or that they see it every day, that they ignore it, and as you said, it's not really revered anymore.
If somebody else was looking for it, they'd say, have you seen something? Oh, there's this thing, it's been there years. Yeah.
No, but that's what we're saying, is the leader of the other army doesn't know that it's under the shrine to Cossus V.
No.
Or
so the shrine could be there, and people just like, yes, a shrine, whoopie-doo, not knowing what's actually in there. So it could be there.
Let's go look.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you looking? I'm going to say, the top of that hill's, it's not overly exposed, but you wouldn't want to be riding around there on horseback.
No.
So what you could do is find somewhere to leave your horses in. I mean, there's various areas of kind of forest or wood, so you could find a clearing, tie up your horses.
Tie up to a tree.
Yeah, and then work your way south along that gorge, trying to keep out of sight the best that you can.
That sounds the best idea. Around the little river gorge or the big one.
If you're not going to try and get yourself down, one way or the other, you need to get to the top of that gorge. So if we say you start when you get to about there, yeah.
Yep.
So at that point, you can see the sort of island in the middle is lower than this bit here, but there is a narrow gorge that drops down a long way. I mean, it's got to be 50 foot to the bottom easy. I mean, okay, it's not a long way, but it's long enough that you wouldn't necessarily want to be pissing about with it. So you can see where the rivers join again. Do you want to work your way down the east side of that small gorge, or your only other real option from here at the moment would be to try and find a way to cross the
I
large
think we
river?
should go down the east side of the gorge while we're on this side.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
can
if you've
go
got
for the more
that-
complicated bit after.
yeah, I mean that looks as good a place as any to look, though, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys work your way south down the gorge, and you initially do not see very much. However, when you get down to the other branch in the river down here, yeah,
Yep.
I will show you an aerial view of what you see. Okay. Well, I'll show you a view of what you see, or a plan of what you see. Hopefully, that should now be on roll 20.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's neat.
Okay.
Okay, so you're coming down the you're coming down from here. Yep. So this is the smaller river. Yeah. At this point here, just off the map, but at that point just there, you can see it looks like there is a small cave in the in that bank, and it looks almost as if a part of the bank has fallen into the river and exposed a tunnel behind it. So that's the first thing that you see. The second thing that you see at this point is this bridge here. That is low down at the bottom of the gorge, and it runs from a tunnel that heads into that island to what you think, without leaning too far over the cliff, you can't be entirely sure, but it also leads, you're fairly sure, into a tunnel that is basically underneath your feet. Now, given that I've put this map on screen, I will also tell you that when you decide to look around a little further, I hate doing that to you, but by this point, so when you get round to here, actually from there you may not be able to see, but you can see low down there is also this area here which looks like calm water, and then possibly a small beach with flagstones in front of it. Actually, I'm not sure that you could have seen that from where you are, so maybe disregard that. But yeah, so the main river is flowing fair. Oh, sorry. What you can see certainly is another tunnel, another bridge at that point, crossing the main river. But again, this is 40 foot below you, and it's a span that runs from a cave mouth to a second cave mouth.
Right.
So from where you are, you've seen two bridges with caves either side of the river.
Yep.
And you've seen one other cave where it looks as though something has fallen into the river. There's rubble and stuff piled up against the banks just below a cave mouth. The river is running. The main river isn't slow, but it's not fast. but this side path is quite rocky and quite fast moving. Yeah, it's not overly white watery, but you wouldn't want to go for a paddle in it.
Okay.
I mean, is it worth splitting up and just seeing if either of the two caves from either very close inside or just outside looks like a tempest to Kossus?
The caves are all about 40 feet below the ground you are standing on.
Is it worth someone going down the rope? Lower down the bridge?
Does it naturally descend to where the bridge goes?
No, basically what you've got is a river gorge. He says, you've got a river gorge.
Yep.
You're on the top of it. Down almost at the waterline, there is a bridge between two cave mouths. There's no way to get down to those cave mouths from here, except for possibly trying to climb down a rocky cliff face.
That suggests that there's a tunnel, which suggests there's another entrance somewhere.
Or we're standing at the dead end tunnel end, which is the cave.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah. And we have to go around to where the flagstone bit is that we can't see yet. Oh.
Is it worth, guys, keep following the river back to the town, and at night time
Get a boat.
taking the boats and
It sounds like we might have to, if we're not going to climb down.
yeah, I'd rather do it sort of night time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So how many boats will we need?
There's only 5 of us, so
Yeah.
2.
You could.
I don't know how big the boats are.
The boats are large enough that you could get all 5 of you into a boat without too much trouble.
Righto.
So that will draw a fair amount of attention.
That's why we
if
do
we're
it.
found.
You're more likely to have attention drawn to 2 or 3 boats going missing than you are one breaking away, especially if the guards are as attentive as you would expect them to be to how many boats there are there.
Yeah, I think we go get a boat.
I think so.
Go early night, go up there, find it, come back, put a boat before it notices. Or one boat, yeah, it's not going to be that big a confusion.
How far does the gorge go the other way? If
The
the gorge
narrow
starts
gorge
at
or
the
the-
town, no, the big gorge.
The big
river,
gorge.
how
It-
far does it go the other way?
Gonna
Or is it
run
outside?
Good half. It's probably going to go a little bit beyond the overall map, and then drop down. And it runs up hard against the banks in a few places. You wouldn't want to try and swim up against that current.
No. I was thinking more of if we take the boats as it's downstream to the gorge.
Yeah.
If the gorge ends just off the side of the map, we want to leave our horses somewhere there-ish, so that when we finish the boats, we can get on our horses. And we don't have to actually take the boat back; we just disappear. Rather than trying to paddle against the current to get on land. Is there a way to get on land further upstream at a sensible distance?
But then we'll have to get to the boats on foot then, won't we?
Yeah.
It's not that far from here to the town.
No?
We've got an evening to walk there or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a question of when we've finished, if there is somebody after us or something happens, we can get on our horses and go, rather than try and paddle against the current, as well as...
The other question that springs to my mind, but entirely down to you, is: do you want to take the whole group? Do you want to take some of the group? How do you want to play that?
But the idea of being on the boats means we're at the right level to access the cave. So really, we want everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to take everybody into town. The gorge doesn't start until you know,
Somebody can go with you halfway to the town with the horses, drop 2 people off, and ride back to where the gorge starts, and then get on the boat there when you come back to the boat.
So on the big map, Louis, if you can go
Yep.
back one.
give me a sec.
Okay, so where would the gorge start?
Maybe where it says go.
I think
I
it's. I
put
think
that
I
on.
said it started about there.
So it
So
starts
we're pretty
there.
close.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, if 3 people,
Couple of people we could pinch the boat. Or
if 3
2 or
people go in to get the boats, 2 actually take it, and the other one ride the horses back. That would then leave a couple of people here as a marker point as well.
Okay.
I think the plan
Plan.
as discussed was good.
Yep, go.
So we'll go to
Yeah,
go
but who's
to the
going
point.
where?
Yeah. What he said.
Okay, well Simon can stay because he's not here.
I think Aladai would be more suited to going and nicking the boats, if I'm honest.
A bit stealthy, yeah.
Genghis is quite stealthy, but I think he'd be more confident bringing the horses back.
Well, I can go with him to steal the horse and steal the boats if you like. I'm a little bit stealthy.
And you
And
know
acting.
ships better than I do.
Oh
Boats.
yes, there's our plan.
Sorted.
And Caja will.
Boats in this case.
Cage is not particularly stealthy, nor is she fantastically good at thievery.
So she will stay at the waiting point
With Baldur.
Yep.
in Baldor.
Oh God, all the jokes.
So we're going part way on horses. Somebody's going back to the horses, and we're going on foot. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
at dusk.
we should go probably to about here because I've got a funny feeling there's probably going to be some sort of security by that bridge. Even at night.
Yes.
Potentially, yeah.
So
So are we going early evening or are we going nighttime?
I'm thinking set off from the gorge an hour after the sunset. So by the time we sort of plod, literally not at any pace, just plodding along, chatting.
I'm just more concerned. Are we going to see where we're going?
Just keep the river to your right.
Okay.
So if we're plodding along, just chatting, if anyone does come across or whatever, we're not looking too suspicious.
Okay.
And then we can go quiet before the bridge.
Okay. I am going to say,
make me a crazy plan roll.
pick a number between. No, Doug, high or low?
Oh, right. Low, because low's better in Conan.
Okay, low. Ollie,
Hmm.
roll me a d6. Tell me what you get.
5.
5. Okay.
Fuck.
That's lower than 6.
It is a relatively new moon, and there is cloud cover.
Ooh.
So, in terms of can you see where you are going? Not particularly. It's going to be pretty damn dark. It's not going to be completely pitch black.
I was born in the dark.
Yeah, okay.
That was a very poor imitation of a Bane voice. Oops.
That was an extremely poor imitation of a
It
Bane
was.
voice.
I'm not Tom Hardy.
I feel snickered.
So, hello, darkness, my old friend.
So yeah, it's. I just wanted to check. Nobody has the talent camo, do they?
No.
That's a talent.
Yeah.
I have Master of Disguise. I could be a rock.
Look at me. I'm a rock.
Change one letter and you could be something else, Ollie.
Ha, ha. No, I don't have camo though. I think I
Okay.
considered it at one point, but
No, that's okay. Camo's quite. The reason I ask is camo lets you use your stealth to cover as many people as you have focus in stealth.
am I looking to getting camo?
Um,
Could
so
cover the whole party.
yeah, quite useful under certain circumstances, but only under certain. That was what I thought I'd ask. So, just so I've got this right, so Baldur Baldur and Cager are going with the horses, and the other three are
going
did I hear
back.
that right?
Yeah, going back towards the boats, and then Genghis is going to ride the horses back and meet me and Action once we've got the boat.
Yep.
Yeah, so Baldur and Cager are staying by the Red X. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Genghis, Action, and Aladai are heading
on horseback, partway to the bridge.
Downriver until they're comfortable enough where they're ready to move on foot.
Without being spotted. Yeah.
So
I mean, you could just leave the. I think you left the horses just north of the road or something originally, so you could leave them there anyway. But so you're taking the horses and leaving them where?
No, we're not.
No. Okay.
Once Aladai and Action are close enough to that bridge,
okay,
which means we're close to the town, I'm then leading their horses back towards Cager and Baldur. So they don't have to travel on foot, basically.
Yeah.
It'll save a bit of time.
I mean, your feet will be less tired, which is better for sneaking.
Okay.
And it makes a more complicated plan for you to try and work out.
It makes it a much more complicated plan.
You do realise we enjoy this, don't you?
I'm also loving the fact that the guy that is probably the best with horses is staying put and isn't coming with you with the horses.
I'm fantastic with horses.
Okay. No,
I've got animal handling 3 as well.
Yeah.
I've got animal handling 2 and 9, so I'm not bad.
No, I was just looking at Baldur. He's got an animal handling of 3 and 10 with 3 ranks of born in the saddle, which means that he automatically rolls 5d20, making.
He's a genius, basically.
Same.
You got 3 ranks of born in the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yes, I suddenly realised I've updated your character sheet, but I still don't have your talents written down on the character sheet, so I'll have to get you to send me it. I don't know what the hell happened there, but hey. Right, okay, so it is dark. The clouds are
scudding across the sky.
Scudding across the sky.
At least it's warm then.
Yeah.
It's not too cold. No, once you get this side of the mountains, it is considerably. It's still pretty warm. Show me again on the map where it is that you're turning back with the horses.
Before the guard patrol gets there.
When we decide that we're close enough, or not too close.
Anywhere, Louis, between sort of here and here.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to be kind and generous and say you don't accidentally stumble into a patrol or get too close to the bridge and somebody hears something. You got enough animal handling skills to do that. So you lead the horses very quietly back out into the night.
Yep.
And Aladai and Action are going to sneak carefully along. So what's your game plan? Talk to me, guys. What do you want to do?
So we're going to send him back with the horses once we get there.
Yeah.
Done that, yep.
Done that.
Yeah. We are going to see what sort of is around the bridge, if anybody.
Okay.
And then head on round to a boat.
Yeah. See how they are.
Okay.
Moored or whatever.
Each of you make me a stealth roll. You may spend Doom if you want to for bonus dice. You don't have to.
I don't know. Do I need to spend Doom now?
I got 2 successes.
I got 1 success.
Okay.
Is that to be unseen, Louis?
Yes, it is. I think.
2 momentum.
So you pick up. Right. Let me. First time we've used this, I will check it. So which one's that? Living Shadow.
Yeah.
Terrain effects and social cues to remain unnoticed by observers. Remaining to note, unseen or noticed, you gain bonus momentum. Okay, yeah, no, I'll give you that. So you gain how many momentum?
2.
Wow.
And I got 1 success, which is enough, isn't it?
Yep, that is. Okay. Together, do you two want to give me a group observation roll?
Oh, okay.
Sure.
You may spend momentum that you have earned on that.
We just got 2, so we can.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to reroll 1 dice anyway, but yeah, we can if you like. Go for it.
I'll use one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, throw out one of the momentum and roll me 3 dice.
I've got 2 successes. I'm going to reroll to 16.
I got 2 successes.
Okay, I've got 2 successes.
Okay. That is enough for you to notice there is a guard on the bridge. As you get close to him, you can hear him. There is there's a faint noise which alerts you to his presence, and you stop in the gloom and listen carefully. And you get the feeling that he is sitting on the bridge or leaning on the bridge. He doesn't sound overly alert. He sounds like somebody that is not really sure why he's standing guarding a bridge in the middle of the night. It will therefore be fairly easy for you to get past him.
Yeah. There's a bit of different distance between him and the town, so we could go a bit further away from the bridge to go past.
Yeah, you could ease if you ease round. You will just need a success each on your stealth roll, in order to do that.
I might have to use and borrow momentum for this one.
Okay.
Okay, in which case, if you want to roll 3, Charlie, and we'll get Ollie to burn that last doom.
Yep.
I got 2 successes.
Okay.
And I got 4 successes.
Wow.
I think there's some success there.
Right, you only needed 1
each.
So I'm not seeing you having lost that, so I'm just going to give you the 2. You got 4 successes, so you get 3 momentum for that, and Actian gets 1 momentum.
Yep. And was that to not be seen again, technically?
That wasn't to be not seen. Was that not including the to be not seen number?
I don't think so. Oh, no, it was. It was. I forgot to go to it. Yeah, no, that is.
Yeah.
That is fine. Yeah.
I was going to say 4 successes on 2 dice, otherwise is quite impressive.
No, I did get 4 successes on 2 dice. I got 5 and a 3.
Okay, in which case you should have 2 extra momentum, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm just forgetting how everything works.
What was the maximum momentum you could have?
You can have 6 in the pool.
Right. Okay. So we're now up to 6.
You are now up to 6. You are on max momentum.
That's what I was checking. Good.
Okay. So yeah, you sneak round. You can hear some drunken singing coming from the building closest to the bridge. You are familiar enough to know Shemish when you hear it. And there's a couple of guys singing in Shemish. Okay, so you guys going to carry on working towards where the boats are?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I have a horrible feeling I know where this is going, but
Boats.
okay. So you guys sneak down, and just before you get to the house that is closest to the river, you can hear the sounds of boats just knocking together gently on the current of the river. A sound that Actaeon knows well.
Yep.
You
Very
can
relaxing.
almost smell the salt.
Oh, it's a freshwater, isn't it?
As it starts to take you back. It is, but it starts to take you back to the coast. Just the sound of the boats gently knocking together. Okay.
Can we see any people around the boats, or are they just moored up and that's it?
You can. One of you can make me an observation roll. I've got a feeling I know who that's going to be.
Oh, that'll be me, I suppose. Here we go. Do I want to use a... No.
We've got quite a lot, Charlie.
I know. I've got my 1, and I'm going to re-roll my 14. It gets me a 13, so I've got... Where's my observation disappeared to? I've got 1 success there. It's good enough.
Okay. You are not immediately aware of anybody around near the boats.
Okay, so I'll wave and we'll carry on. Obviously not speaking.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick a boat out from a distance before we get there, or to a point.
You're going to struggle to pick a boat out from a distance, given
Not big distance, but as we get closer, we'll pick a boat
that from the side of the river.
Yeah.
You can spot 2 boats, and then there are some dull shapes beyond them.
2 boats on the bank or tied up?
No. They're on the river.
They're on moorings.
They are tied together on the river, and it looks as though there's a boat tied to a couple of moorings, and then there's another boat tied to that boat, and another boat tied to that boat, which is why they're kind of banging against one another in the.
So we're going to want to get the last boat, or the boat that's not going to set the rest adrift, and create panic in the town.
Also, Charlie.
Yep.
There's a guard on the bridge.
Yep.
Do we have to go under the bridge?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so...
But will he hear one boat just drifting past?
Particularly alert to people going past, but something going underneath him?
He won't hear anything if we're not paddling. We're going with the current.
Okay, yeah.
So he shouldn't hear anything.
Should be fine then.
He was just leaning back, taking his time.
And it's dark. It's dark, isn't it?
And it's dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll run with
How high was the bridge from the river?
It's got 2 wooden sides. It's got looked like it had stone foundations, and it goes up on 2 wooden sides and then across in the middle. So
there's plenty of room for the boat, but how near to the water is he? Yeah.
He's not that. No, he's the. You've got. I can't picture it in my head how much headroom you've got, but you've got enough headroom to get under there without.
Oh, we know the boat will go under. I mean, if it's 10 foot high above the water, then obviously it's going to be harder for him to see us.
it's not that high.
Yeah.
It's maybe actually it's probably about 6 or 7 feet above the water. Thinking about it, because the bank is higher than the river.
So if he is leaning against the side like we saw him, he's looking across the width of the road. Yeah. And therefore his angle's going to be, you won't see us, or shouldn't see us. Right, okay. Right, so let's have a look at a boat and pick a boat out if we're near enough.
Okay. I mean, you said it's probably best trying to find the boat that's furthest.
Yeah, the last boat, the boat at the end.
The boat at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to need, who's going to go out on the boats first?
I will.
Okay. Let me just check your character sheet for half a moment.
With my acrobatics and my minus 1d sailing test or minus 1d athletics swimming test.
After you ask for permission to come aboard, Charlie.
Yeah.
Are you going to? Sorry, are you going to swim out to it, or are you going to clamber from boat to boat?
How many boats are in the row?
You're not quite sure. You reckon there were at least half a dozen there when you looked earlier.
And the river's not super fast, is it?
It's not super fast.
So it'd probably be better to paddle out and sort of run my hands along the sides of the boat, so I'm sort of walking my way across with my hands along the boats and swim between where I need to.
Okay. So that's not that difficult to do. So we're leaving Aladai on the shore, and you're going to slip in and go out to the final boat
and check to see if it's got any oars in it.
Okay, getting out to the boat is not a problem. The water is pretty cold.
Yeah.
Getting out to the boat is not that tricky.
Yeah.
I would like you to make an acrobatics check to get into the boat. And because you're trying to get into the boat quietly, I'm going to ask for a D2, a challenging acrobatics test.
We have momentum.
Yep, we're going to use at least one momentum.
Decide what you're going to use before you roll.
I don't know. We have one or two the momentum. I've just done one momentum. I use two. Chuck one in for me, then I'll have two momentum. So that's before D20.
That's going to be 4D20.
And I need. Here we go. That will be 2 successes.
That's just.
And I can re-roll 1d20 per acrobatics check, so I can re-roll one of them.
Okay.
Under my new skill.
Charlie, I wouldn't bother.
No. We don't have any complications.
We've still got 4 momentum, and you don't want to risk a complication, mate.
Okay, so it's 2 successes.
Okay, so Aladai's heart stops in his mouth as he hears the, to his ears, racket you make getting onto this boat. You actually do it fairly quietly, but sitting on the side in the near silence, listening to some Shermish guy in the vague distance singing drunkenly with his mates.
The change of weight will make all the boats clunk a lot more.
Yeah. At which point Aladai's hands go to his knives, just waiting to hear something coming. But no,
somebody up,
there's no sound you've been heard. The last boat does have oars, and it's a largish rowboat.
Yep. So I'll gently put the oars in, ready in the rowlocks.
Okay.
You leave your bollocks alone.
Okay. I'll get in position, untie the rope, and row it into shore. Because I'll be drifting towards the bridge if I don't row. So I'm rowing into the shore to pick up Aladai.
Okay. Okay. Make me a D2, difficulty 2 sailing check. Because you've got to pull this thing in without hitting anything, without ramming it against the side of the river.
I'm going to need at least 2 momentum again.
Yep, that's fine.
Surely one of your talents reduces that difficulty.
I've got a minus 1d sailing test for home waters.
This ain't home water.
Exactly. Right, here we go.
You've got 4.
Okay, I've rolled 4. And my sailing test is... where's it gone? Sailing, 112. So I've got 2.
2.
That's second momentum again.
Yeah.
Okay. The boat bumps against the side
of the bank.
Aladai, I'm going to let you get in without... I want to make you make an acrobatics check, but I'm going to be nice. Okay, so Aladai manages to get into the boat.
We make sure we hide anything shiny we might be carrying.
I'm guessing you did that before you came.
Well, yeah, but make double sure.
Yeah.
Put your knives back, Aladai.
Okay.
Right. We'll paddle off, and we'll turn around and head towards the bridge in the middle of the river, letting the current take us once we get up to speed.
Okay. Okay.
And then we'll stay low in the boat as we come up towards the bridge.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. You scud underneath the bridge, hearts in your mouth, but whoever is on guard duty really doesn't hear or notice a thing. You can make your way down the river. You've got to be a bit. Actually, I'm going to say, because you're now going, but you're trying to get all the way down to the red X, aren't you? Before you stop again.
Don't be panic yet.
I'd have some rope ready to throw to him to pull him in as well.
Yeah. Okay. Make me a D1 sailing test just to keep it in the middle of the river, not ramming it into the banks or anything like that.
Saving
Because
test.
it's dark.
A saving test.
A sailing test.
Oh,
I know you have sailing, so use it.
D1 sailing test. Here we go then.
D1 sailing test.
Oh,
No. You can roll 2 dice. The difficulty was 1.
Oh, well, I've
He's
already
made
got
it.
success then.
Made
There's
it.
a second dice, so it's 2.
Okay. So you gain 1 momentum.
Yep.
I'm not going to give you that momentum because
It's going to tick off.
one of those will tick down anyway.
Yeah.
Do you need one of these then, Louis?
To be
No,
fair,
that's fine. That's fine. When we hit the next scene, it will tick down. So instead of giving Charlie 1 and then taking it back off him.
Ah, right, yeah, got it.
So, okay. The boats come down. You meet up with the others.
Yep.
So have Baldur, so Genghis is now with Baldur and Kaja
correct.
and 5 horses.
Correct.
We attempt to leave
Okay.
Baldur with the 5 horses.
The horses are there, so if we have to make a quick getaway.
Okay. Yeah. No, I hear you. So what's the plan from here? You know, it's
Are we
now.
all getting in the boat, or are we leaving Baldur with the horses?
No, we're all getting in the boat. We're
We're all
gonna.
getting in the boat,
I think we're
okay.
gonna.
What are you going to do with the horses? Because you're a bit close to town here to be leaving the horses
Leave them
and
with
not
Baldur.
expecting them to be seen.
Is
I would
there-
take Baldur
Yeah, no, I
with you.
know.
Just trust me. Take Baldur with you.
I was joking.
Is there
Is
any
there any-
like
Trees, copses, or anything else we can
Yeah.
put the horses in?
You're going to have to get up back near the gorge in order to find that. But I mean, somebody could take the horses
Yeah.
up there and then come back and meet you. It just means it's going to be
Yeah.
later when you kick off.
That's what we'll do.
Okay.
We'll send
So-
Baldur up there because he's got the horse skills. He can ride up with the horses on the way up, can't he?
And then
And
walk
walk
back. Okay, so it's probably getting on for midnight by the time you guys get on with the next part of your plan. So describe to me the next part of your plan.
My first question is going to be, does somebody have a light? Not that we're going to light it right now, a torch or something.
No, I think we should sleep here
What with
and aim for getting up literally
crack a door.
crack of dawn and setting off at first light so we can see where we're going. Because this area of river now is completely unknown to us. I know we've travelled the gorge and stuff, but we haven't really looked down it or stuff. So I think we need daylight is going to be better.
Safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll tie the boat up and make sure it's well anchored to the shore.
Okay. Maybe I would imagine that Actium would probably feel quite comfortable just getting his head
Sleeping in the
down
boat.
in the boat.
I'd be happy to sleep in the boat. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to, because otherwise this is going to get
Yep.
torturous. So you guys wait until just before first light. And as the sky is just starting to change colour, you get into the boat and make your way down through the gorge.
Yep.
The river is fast-ish, but it's not slow, but it's not breakneck pace down here. And you gradually head round the large bend and work your way down. With a little bit of light, you can see the passageway pulling up on the on the right hand side. So I shall drop you back to the other map. There we go.
So we'll go under the bridge.
Yeah, I personally, guys, would like to do this one first.
That's what we're going to do, yeah, because we can pull in there with the boat.
Yeah, and the fact that it's flagstoned indicates that it's been man-built and stuff, which is more likely going to be the shrine.
And the mooring.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to go through and under the bridge.
Okay. So you drift under the bridge, and it's, you know, it's about the same distance as the bridge back in town was above the water level.
Yep.
You know, the actual walkway itself is probably about 10 feet above the river. It's got 2 stone balustrades down both sides. The carvings on them are worn, and in some places, some of the stonework is missing from the balustrade, so there are empty gaps in it. But it's still fairly intact and looks ancient. You make it round the corner of the bend, and you can see the small shale beach pulling up in front of you.
Okay, well, I rode straight into the shale beach.
Okay. Yeah. So you pull up on the beach, and you notice there are a number of... So I'm lost which screen I'm trying to look at. You notice there are several stone bollards up on the flagstones above the high water mark. I mean, it's obvious that sometimes it floods, but it's basically above the high water mark.
So we'll tie the boat up to one of those, or a couple of those, so it doesn't go away.
Okay. And you can see in front of you, across the flagstones, 3 stone stairs that lead up to a set of stone double doors. And on the front of the doors, on each of the doors, is the weather eroded but still visible face of a bearded man wearing an archaic looking helmet, looking extremely fierce.
Is it Uncle Priestess?
Any snakes or anything built into the stonework?
No.
But bearded man, so
That's good enough, yeah. Is there a doorway?
Yeah, there's a double stone. There's a pair of double stone doors with a face on each door.
And they are completely shut, ajar?
They are shut.
another good sign.
I actually prefer it to be shut, to be honest.
Yeah.
Cool.
So who's going to check it to see how long since it looks? How long does it look since it was last opened? How's that? If at all.
It looks like it's not been opened for a while. There are there's piles of very small pebbles that have kind of been and dust that's pushed up against the side. The door hasn't been opened in, you'd guess, at least a few years. It may be a few decades. It's a bit difficult to tell, but it's not like somebody was here 2 weeks ago.
Does it look like there's handles on it or anything else, or is it going to be a push?
It's going to be a push, you're fairly sure.
I'll walk up to the right door and give it a push.
Okay. I can't see the point at the moment. You've got pretty much all the time in the world in doing massive numbers of athletics checks to see who can manage to push the doors open. But you manage to, after a fair amount of work, get the right door to open, and it does just give in. It drags heavily on the stone. Whatever was used to fix the hinges is obviously badly worn or broken.
Yep.
But you can get it open enough that you've got enough width to get somebody through it. into the darkness of the cave. Actually, I say into the darkness of the cave. The cave is dark inside, but there is light filtering in from your left. And
As you step in the door, yeah.
As you step in, no, not just through this door, but through another area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that may lead on to the other bridge.
Since you've said it, I will confirm that for you. Yeah, that when you
as we sailed under the bridge,
figure it out. Yeah. Yeah. So, bear with me half a sec. Plug another mouse in.
Let's post it note out of the way.
It's going to be too difficult to do this otherwise. Oh man, that's slow. Okay. So, as you open the door from where you are. Oh, come on. Give me a sec. This thing's pissing about. Right. Oh, come on.
Did you put it on the map layer?
No, I've just worked that out.
Get your pencil and draw it back in.
Oh, for... Okay, I'll tell you what, let's just try it with a mouse pad and see if that works. I've not done this in anger before.
Sounds like you're getting there now.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
No, I'm saying, did you draw the black bits in? On the map layer? In which case, it's stuck.
Right, let's try just doing that. That works, okay. So it's not quite the way I wanted to show you it, but it'll do. Okay, so you can probably, in the light you've got at the moment, you can probably see kind of that. And we'll try and get the polygon reveal working.
I still think it's very cool.
There we go.
Up again, Bill.
There we go. Right, that's working. So that's kind of what you can see as you first stick your head in through the door.
Yep.
Let's go back to just reveal areas. And I'm guessing you're just making your way initially into the room, yeah?
Yep, once we're all in, yep.
Okay.
What can we see?
Okay.
I think we would light a torch to try and get some better.
Okay. How many
light.
torches have you got with you? Because nobody has mentioned torches until this point.
I did mention did we have a light on the boat, but nobody mentioned how many torches there are or who had any. Yeah.
I mean, you knew you were coming to a cave, so you know if you want to bring a torch or two each, that's fine. But as nobody's mentioned going out of your way to make sure that you've got enough stuff to make lots and lots of torches with. If we say you've got 5 of you, so say you've got 10 torches between you.
Right.
That's more than fair.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. The room, once you've lit a torch, you can see pretty much the whole room. So the room is richly carved with bas reliefs, and there is a pillar in the middle, which likewise has bas reliefs carved on it. The theme is a bearded, helmed man in a slightly strange, archaic style of helm. There is dust and cobwebs blown around the place. You're pretty sure nobody's been here in ages. You can see where the wind has blown in from the bridge, which you can now see making its way over the river. And it looks as though there are 2 other ways out of this room. So there's a there's an exit down to the southeast corner of the room, and there is an exit.
West.
It's not going to do
Northwest.
that. Yeah, northwest that heads off as well.
I'll have a quick look that way, I think.
Okay, so that passageway leads down, and there are 2 doors. Hang on. Reveal areas. There we go. Rusty with this. There are 2 doors leading off at the T-junction at the end of that. Again, they're stone doors. They've got the same bas relief carvings of the figure of who you are assuming by this point, I'm guessing, is Kossus V.
Yep.
So the door to the north, the picture of Kossus on that shows him with a wheat sheaf in one arm. Once you are inside, the weathering is nowhere near as bad as it was. You can see that this was probably at some point painted, and that paint has just been eroded by being semi-open to the elements. But in terms of the actual stone carvings,
yep,
they're not crisp, but they're not as worn as they could be. Yeah, he is holding a wheat sheaf in one arm, and is standing with various kind of foodstuffs behind him. The door to the south from there shows him with a large scroll in one hand, and it looks as though he's holding a pen in his other hand.
Okay, I'll have a gander through the north door, I think. Give that a...
Okay. It's going to take you a while to kind of shove that in.
Yeah, I'll call for the guy. Give us a hand here.
But when you do open that door, it leads into a room with 3 small cracks in it that let light into the room. Not as it appears on that picture, arrow slits leading out. That was not their purpose. The room is carved with various reliefs of this guy. It's all about food. It's about harvest. It is about handing things to his people, providing for his people, abundant feasts. There are carvings of hunts where they're bringing down deer, or there's a couple of beasts you're not quite sure what they're bringing down, but there are hunting parties, and then the next one there are feasts going on. So this is very much, it appears to be about Kossus and providing for his people.
Is there nothing else in the room?
No, it's just a carved open space with these bas reliefs.
Okay. I'd probably take a bit of bread or some of a dried tack or something and just place it in the middle of the room. Don't want to upset anyone, and he might appreciate it.
Okay. It doesn't do anything when you put it down, but
no, that's fine.
Appeasing the spirit of appeasing a deity can how wrong can that go?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Let's go down to the southern door, shall we, Charlie?
Yeah, depending on the size of the rat that turns up. Go on.
sorry.
Okay.
What's this time you're reckoning of wrapping up?
Oh, blimey, yeah, 10:30.
After the southern door.
I tell you what, can you give me about 10 minutes or so?
Yep.
Is that all right? Sorry.
No,
that's
lack of
fine.
enjoyment.
No, that's all right. I've got to go in the office tomorrow. So yeah, no, that's a fair point.
I'm still off.
Yeah, but I had a nice relaxed Christmas. The The southern door opens towards you, not away from you. So it's and it's gonna be there's nothing obviously to get a hold of to pull it towards you.
Okay. So you can't slide something underneath and hook it and pull it or anything like that?
No, I mean it's a 6-8 inch thick stone door.
Yeah. Okay.
And the one to the north. If it's the same as the one to the north, which was push away from you,
not much chance.
That was quite a push to get it open.
Okay, so we can't open it.
This one's going to be almost impossible to open.
Okay, we'll leave it for a minute. We can always come back.
Okay.
What about going through the southwest door? We don't know where it goes yet.
There is
Southeast door. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go down and have a look at that?
Yep.
Okay. This leads into another door, another room filled with, and this one is dark. Without the torch, you would barely be able to make out where you were. This one shows Kossus the warrior. His armies sweeping across mountains and across plains and through forests, often with him stood on a chariot in what looks like, difficult to tell in a carving, but what looks like probably bronze carved armor. It's all very stylized and actually fairly impressive. The scale is quite something. And you very much get the feeling that the action is moving from the archway you walked through to get into this room down to the south, and then when it gets around, it gets to a further door, and on that door is a carving of Kossus again, with various people stood behind him.
Okay, I'm going to take out my spare short sword that I don't really use. The one I gave to and I'm going to place it in that room with the warrior.
Okay. Yep.
I'm not expecting anything to happen, but just play the game.
It doesn't, but yeah, there's various kind of places where you could put it, so you find somewhere to put it. The door out of that area is like I say, is carved with that, and you feel will push away from you.
Come on, Charlie, let's get our shoulder into this.
Let's get her in there. Give it a push.
Okay. The door does eventually give. It is quite a job getting it open, but it does open up. And it leads into a room. This room is, utterly dark by this point. Without the torch, you would just be doing everything by touch. You can kind of feel the weight of the cliff pushing down on the top of the room. Carved on the wall are, what I imagine you would take as, again, carvings of Kossus bringing together warring clans. In one stone panel, there's a group of guys very obviously at war with one another. In the next, there is Kossus standing as they eat together. The whole feeling is of brotherhood and kinship, and you see those figures working together with one another. I am guessing at this point you are also going to walk around the corner of the curved passage that you can see heading off in that direction.
I'd give Cager a hug first.
Cage will blink.
hit you with a large axe.
Well, she's seen what I've been doing with the other rooms, so I'm just carrying it on.
You have. I see. You're quite lucky you don't get hit, but
Is that because it's too dark to see who's cuddling you?
She's the one holding the torch.
Ah, right. Flame on.
yeah.
Okay, so leading round the corner, you find yourself in another room with. It's not too difficult to work out that that's the back of the same door, and this one shows Kossus writing with pens and paper. It shows, you're guessing, travelers from a distance coming to learn from him. You can see obviously travelers with camels, with horses on ships coming, and Kossus sitting reading from scrolls and books to them. It's very much a feel of this benevolent, kindly, wise person sharing with those that come to him.
Has anyone got paper or a quill? Aladai, you messing about with stuff?
Yeah, it's probably.
I would say Aladai's probably got some parchment and
It's got some parchment and something spare. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I take that and respectfully place that in the room too.
Okay, nothing obviously happens. But yeah, you place that down. So yeah, that you realize that you've now seen pretty much all there is to see in this area, and the bridge ahead of you leads over the river, and you can make out a stone doorway just inside an overhang on the far side of the river.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Is that a good place to stop?
Yep.
I think so. I wouldn't want to go into the cave without Simon anyway, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's a bit wrong.
Okay.
So we can stop there and he'll be all right.
Yeah. Right. In which case, I will stop broadcasting rather than hang up. If anybody has been watching, thanks, and join next time to find out what is in the eastern section of the shrine.